Hello, everybody. This is Dan DeFedericis of Saratoga Report, recording on a warm Monday afternoon. We love these warm May days. And I am here with a Saratoga Independent School parent, Megan O'Sullivan, who has a child that attends Saratoga Independent School. Miss O'Sullivan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you,
Oh,
Dan.
excellent. Okay, good, good. So you have a child at school there, and you're obviously very familiar. You're very on. In our pre-talk, you are on top of things as most parents are of your child's education. And I know you're very happy with SIS, as they call it, Saratoga Independent School. And if you were talking to another parent, if we could just get right into this, if you were talking to another parent and you had a long elevator ride with that parent, and they said, "Geez, I'm not sure if I want to send my my child to a certain school or SIS is SIS." What would you tell that person why SIS is a good choice?
Well, I think the elevator ride would need to be very long because I have so many good things to say about the school.
Okay.
The first thing, if you walk into SAS, the first thing you notice, it's just the atmosphere. It's so calming. You've got the beautiful polished concrete floors. There's fish tanks, all the natural wood, the natural light coming in. So, and I also want to mention I'm a public school teacher. So the difference between, the fluorescent lighting and the tiles, and then you walk into this beautiful natural space. That's wonderful. That sets the stage. But also there's a small sense of community. You just feel like you are a part of the school. Very involved. I know I'm on the PA as well, which is wonderful. That's the Parent Association. And now this is our fourth year at SAS. And I love, and I think we'll get into this a little more later, but the personalized attention that each student gets. It's also, they allow the students to really hone in on their talents. So they are really encouraging the children to build their confidence in who they are and who they need to be in the world. And I have really seen my son grow into such a confident human being and such a confident learner. And I think it builds that curiosity of learning, and also this year a real strong sense of advocacy, which I think is so important for the citizens of tomorrow. Um,
Expand on that if I'm sorry if I'm interrupted, but say a little more about that.
the advocacy piece. Well,
Yes.
this year, as in the third, my son's an intermediate, which combines the third and the fourth grades, and the social studies curriculum has mostly been based on a big part of the year on advocacy and what is advocacy, and teaching the kids, where they see a problem, how to, and if they know a solution, or how to build that solution, and how to get the community involved. And to raise awareness. And they've had, some scenarios about saying, what happens when the principal decides we need more time in the classroom and they're going to cancel recess? What are you going to do about that? Um, I've seen that. I've seen it come across in my son now, where he sees things, happening around our house or in the community, and he'll have a strong opinion about it. And he'll have that wantingness to raise awareness, but also the confidence to know, like, he can make a difference. And I think that's such a huge part of SIS, that they're bringing that awareness to the children. And that's
It,
not even like academic based, but that's something, a
right.
real world skill.
It's teaching them to think and teaching them to be confident and act is what I think what you're saying is that and that's maybe are you implying that that's not necessarily done elsewhere at that age anyway?
Well, I think it is a young age to see this. A lot of times you might talk about advocacy. You'll see students on the high school level take a really strong interest in advocacy. But certainly, I know, at least I've had a lot of years in public education. It's not that people don't want to teach that kind of thing, but it can sometimes be a touchy subject in the public school, as well as there's just not a lot of time. There's a lot of time on the math and ELA component, and so there's really not a lot of time to pour into maybe a social studies component such as that. But it's very important.
Wow, that's really great. You are passionate. You can just feel it, and you're obviously you're pleased as a parent. Good for you. That's terrific. And we were going to talk, and I'm sorry if I'm stealing your thunder if you were holding this back, but we talked a little bit in the pre-talk about you were quite impressed with your son's reading improvements since going to SIS. Can we talk about that?
Sure. This is our, again, fourth year at SAS. We did our first year in kindergarten in public school. And my son was in a very large class, 25 kids, and he was not grabbing the concept of reading at all. No matter what we did, we couldn't even have him at a level A. And it became very apparent to me that he needed a different way of learning, a different, a smaller class and more individualized attention. And so I had gotten to SAS because I saw a Facebook lesson being taught live by Miss Shauna, which I believe you had on your show not too long ago. And it was a word working lesson, and he really was engaged and he was learning. It was the first time I had actually seen him learning that year as a kindergartner. And that's what ended up bringing us to SAS. And it's been somewhat of a long road, but what he had starting in kindergarten was just a team of teachers that were just really advocated for him. They were able to advocate for him to get the services he really needed to succeed. He ended up being diagnosed with dyslexia, which not by the school, but by a private psychologist, a neurological psychologist. But then through that, SAS, something else that they do have, they have some Orton Gillingham, that reading program. They have teachers who are trained in that specifically for their students that might be suffering with dyslexia. And so that's the program that my son has been using for a year. So last year, just with the start of that program, he jumped, I believe they told me 12 reading levels in one school year. And now this year he's in third grade, but he's reading at the end of a fourth grade level. So all in all, in less than 2 school years, he's jumped 22 reading levels. And there's no better feeling as a parent, because that reading is so key. You need it in your confidence to learn anything in school. And but in that, I mean, he had his classroom teacher with him. He had, there was a special education teacher that was working with him. SAS also has a literacy coach that would meet with him twice a week, one-on-one. So there's so much individualized instruction, and to see his growth in such a short amount of time, and to see the confidence as a learner, it's, as a parent, that right then and there, I know the investment at SAS is so worth it. And I think it's been a total game changer for Caleb. Oh, wow. I shouldn't, my son.
That's okay. Well, I had a question for you, because you touched on it here. You said the investment. There is, obviously, it's a private school. There is a cost, but I don't think a lot of prospective parents understand that. I think some think that financial aid is only a college thing, and that's not true, is it?
It's not true at all. And as I've mentioned, when my son was in his first year of kindergarten in public school, and then I saw that lesson, and he was so engaged with Miss Shauna, and I thought he needs to go to this school. Let me see how much it costs. And when I saw the tuition, my heart sank, and I thought, oh my gosh. But I immediately saw the link to financial aid, and I decided, I didn't really feel like I would be approved. But I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm going to go ahead. And I filled out the financial aid application, and I followed it up with a letter, and I put together a little portfolio of my student, and, why I felt like he was so talented and he needed to go to that school. And part of the financial aid process, they ask you, what are you really comfortable with? What would you be comfortable with paying? And, being honest about, really what would work within your budget. And I was really surprised. They 100% worked within my budget and made it comfortable for me to be able to, I still pay to send my son there, but it's at something that works for my salary as a public school teacher.
Okay.
So that was, and once you get financial aid 1 year, they try their best to make it a similar amount year after year, though you do have to continually to reapply.
Okay, I see. Certainly. Wow, that you're really, we talk about advocacy, and you're not trying to be an advocate. I think you're just pouring your heart out here, and it's very effective.
I love SAS. I do.
That's awesome. That's
And if
great.
I can say, I do believe I see so many good things happening at that school. And also, they don't take the New York State assessments. I think that's another really important thing. But they are a rigorous academic school. And I'm not sure if everyone knows that out in the community, that they're, still learning the same math concepts and reading concepts. But because of the small class sizes, it's about an average 12 students per classroom, and the individualized attention. And since there isn't that test deadline, they're able to just dig in a lot deeper into subjects and also explore things such as advocacy, that otherwise there wouldn't have been time for. So I am very, very happy to be a part of the SAS community, and I really feel blessed that my son can be a part of it. So I know they just did a big fundraiser. They're expanding their financial aid. So any parents, if you're interested, it just doesn't hurt. Come in, check out the school, take a tour. And if it's the finances holding you back, fill out the financial application. You might be really surprised at what the school might be able to offer you.
Wow, you're professional at this. If teaching, if you ever give up teaching, you can do some PR work, because and I know you're just telling the truth. And
I am.
I have it on the screen there. I have the website as well as the phone number. Call for a tour. Like Ms. O'Sullivan said, just take a look. Even if you're not sure as you're sitting watching this, it doesn't hurt to go check the school out. It doesn't hurt to make a probe into the financial aid possibilities, like you did, and things worked out. So, folks, siskids.org, 583-0841. Give them a call and see if SIS would be a good choice for your child or children. Ms. O'Sullivan, thank you for joining us today on this beautiful day. I'm glad you're outside. I'm not, but good for you. And thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Take care.
Right.